No? Okie doke. Bringing us to our presentation and action items. We have 3 of them this evening, the first of which is an update and discussion regarding COVID-19 schools reopening for the 2020-2021 school year. Superintendent Trahan.
All right, well, thank you so much. We just love giving these reports at every board meeting to keep you all in the loop as to how we're progressing. And Julia is beginning to share her screen. So tonight is a very exciting time in that we are, here we are with update number 9, and we are beginning this week our hybrid for the 6th grade, as well as beginning our orientations in the elementary schools. And so tonight with us for the presentation is Julia Wolcott, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Eric Sable, our Director of Student Services, and myself. So thank you, Julia. Everybody can see Julia's screen?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, wonderful. All right, so as I was talking about getting ready for this week, well, what did we have? Just like the year 2020, we seem to be thrown curveballs left and right, and things that keep popping up that cause us to have to shift and move and address matters that come before us. And here we are with just this week, we encountered a PG&E, Public Safety Power Shutoff, a PSPS, for the first one we've had in this fall. But the reason that it's not all bad news is that, yes, some of our schools were without power yesterday and today. 3 schools yesterday, Manor, Wade Thomas, and White Hill, and then just today were Manor and White Hill. But good news, the great news, is the power's back on at both of those schools. All of our schools, the district office, have power, and we're able to see kind of a silver lining with this most recent bump in a road, in that if all things that COVID-19 has taught us or shown us is to continue to be adaptable, flexible, and just ready to roll with whatever comes our way. And there are some silver linings, because along with the Public Safety Power Shutoff, we are able to move and shift immediately into asynchronous instruction if necessary. And as a reminder, asynchronous is when the students may not have contact at all with their teacher, but they are absolutely able to continue all with school and have lessons that are done not live, but they are done, whether they're have been previously recorded, but the students can still have lessons. And or if with the power shutoff, even if, let's say, we had school in session, but we needed to move because the school was without power, we now know that we can move back into Virtual Learning Academy with ease. And so there are some silver linings, because the good news about this is, you all remember, you approved 3 emergency makeup days should we need them for the 2021 school year, and they've been tacked on to the days after our official school year is over. So later into June, the first 3 days after school is out. But being able to shift into the asynchronous learning has allowed us to not have to close schools or cancel our schools. And so that's a great news in that we don't have to cancel or add the days to the end of the year. No need for Chris Carson, our CBO, to file for a waiver, because we actually were able to hold school, even though some of our schools encountered no power. And then as we had been planning for a potential PSPS and or needing to have emergency substitute plans in place, most of our sites had already distributed emergency packets, as we're calling them. Not that we've experienced an emergency, this wasn't an emergency, but just backup packets were distributed already to families, so that when we knew that the power was potentially going to be off, and originally we did think it would be off at all 5 schools, that we were able to get communications out to the families to be able to access those packets, and or for some of the schools, they hadn't yet distributed them, but they were able to notify families before the power went out that those packets would be available. And for other classrooms, that either the teachers and or the principal together or alone created some downloadable activities. And so families were able to access those and download them from the various platforms that the teachers use, like Seesaw or Google Classroom, so that in the event, or in some schools' case, the power actually did go out and stay off, then the kids could work on schoolwork without having access to internet. And then once internet came back on, they'd be able to upload those documents back up into their platforms. So we do see a silver lining with every single thing that comes our way, helps us to be adaptable and flexible and be able to shift and move and create things that we didn't know we'd have to create, but to continue school. And so we look forward to more opportunities to take advantage of the learnings to continue to make our schools and our instructional activities the best possible activities they can be. So there's a silver lining to that situation. And so where we are now, yay, we're going into phase 3. So today would have been the first day for 6th grade hybrid, but due to White Hill not having power, then our group A will actually begin their first day tomorrow. Our elementary schools, all of them were able to hold their orientations today, except for Manor, because they did remain without power. So Principal Minicozy has sent out a revised orientation update. But all the schools had, we showed up at schools. It was great to see the kids on the campus, to see the staff interact. And so we're very excited to be able to begin phase 3 of our phased return to what will be at some point a post-COVID time. And we do really appreciate and know that the postponement of the beginning of our hybrid model was definitely provided consternation for a lot of folks and disappointment as well as frustration. But those 2 weeks that we had to take the survey results that the parents did to confirm the model that they're looking for their children did help us to resolve the majority of our staffing issues. And so really helped with teacher staffing, as well as to be able to meet the needs of those students or families who are requesting the in-person, as well as those requesting continued virtual learning academy. And then as one of the other items that we knew we were going to be behind a little bit on was our technology needs. So all of our Bluetooth headsets and document cameras have been received. So all of our technology has been received. And if it hasn't already been deployed, it will certainly be by the end of this week. That being said, we do still have some classified positions to fill. And so these are going to be critical to the health and safety of our students and staff on campus, providing supervision, supporting as the positions do on the campus to ensure that we have enough custodial staffing and so on. And as you know, later on tonight's agenda, under the consent, there is approval to add back some of the positions or to that one in particular that we laid off, and then to add some additional custodial support. So in the meantime, as we have some leaves of absence for custodial and or waiting to fill some positions, we are accessing some substitute custodial support. So we do feel really good about that, but we would love for any members of our community to reach far and wide, even if they themselves aren't able to apply for any positions, but to be able to forward, and that'll be coming out shortly in our school newsletters, some of the advertisements of our positions to hopefully get those filled, because that will certainly help to ensure a robust on-site environment. And then we'll just continue to expand our substitute pool. We've made some movement on that, and we'll continue to do so that in the event any teacher needs to be out, we will have backup support with a certificated substitute. So looking forward to getting phase 3 up and running officially for White Hill. I guess we could say today, but that'll be tomorrow for 6th grade. And then our orientations this week, with the hybrid beginning next Tuesday.
Okay, thank you so much, Marcy. And thank you, trustees. I'm excited to share this calendar update. As Marcy mentioned, today was a really big day. We had planned the start of cohort A, 6th grade at White Hill. The White Hill team Principal Katanzari, Assistant Principal Lubomirski, the sixth grade teacher team, took all the sixth graders opting for the hybrid model through orientation last week, half cohort by half cohort. It was really special to witness seeing the White Hill class of 2023 set foot on campus for the first time as official middle schoolers. Very, very amazing. So all of us were collectively disappointed in a year full of challenges to have to delay that by a day. But we understand that power's back on out at White Hill. So tomorrow it's going to be the center of the educational universe, White Hill Middle, as that cohort A gets its hybrid in-person year started. So congratulations to all of them. And I think that all of us having navigated 7 straight months of setbacks and anxiety and stress and challenges, having to shut schools, having to recreate what online school looks like, having a plan for students returning eventually. This is an amazing day, not just for Ross Valley schools. This alongside all of our neighboring partner districts throughout Marin County, all 19 districts, all of us celebrate this. So let's see, going back to yesterday, again, let's remember, we're now in week 4 of having our 3 SDC classes, 2 at Brookside, 1 at White Hill, back in operation 5 days a week. That's a well-oiled machine. The teachers and program aides have got it going on, and the kids, it's amazing to witness in our early childhood program at Brookside. Same deal. Really special to see those 3 and 4-year-olds able to get back to in-person learning. Truly amazing. Also today, it was really special. We were able to see at the Wade Thomas campus orientation, at the Brookside campus orientation. We had to delay that for Manor, unfortunately, but again, they're going to get back online with the power back on. And Manor and Hidden Valley are going to join in the elementary orientation week party starting tomorrow, along with the White Hill cohort A. And then Thursday, Friday will be the White Hill 6th grade cohort B, while elementary orientation continues. So again, Monday will be a virtual learning day for all students other than those SDC and early childhood students, 5 days a week. And then big day for Ross Valley schools, something that we should all collectively celebrate. And remember, for years and years to come, November 3rd, when we're going to have all students TK through 6 back in hybrid mode. That's going to be very special. And then you see again that pattern of Tuesday, Wednesday is Group A, and then Thursday, Friday, Group B. So we're really excited as a district office team to be out and documenting. And what we want to do right now, because I don't think it's possible to have said it enough, to thank our site principals, our teachers, our custodians, our program aides, instructional aides, our one-to-ones, every last person that has stepped up every day over the last 7 months to make this possible, our maintenance and operations crew, and everybody else that has done everything from clean the gutters to hire staff to open the doors for our 5 schools, for our community's children. Moving into the week of November 9th, again, we have the Veterans Day, a special day for us to commemorate those that have given so much to our country. So the A group will have 1 day that week, and then the B group will have Thursday, Friday. And then also at the middle school, we'll have students that are prioritized as needing additional supports, who we really need to make sure we're supporting, because this distance learning is really challenging and can, again, be a situation where some students at home are struggling to be engaged. So the White Hill team is going to begin to form pods of students that week of November 9th with those prioritized students. Onto the week of the 16th, again, a very typical week at that point. That'll again be exciting to feel us getting into a rhythm. And then the week after that, of course, will be the holiday for Thanksgiving, where we hope that our community has a chance to take a bit of a deep breath. And certainly the staff of RVSD and by extension, all educators are going to get a well-deserved break from what has been relentless effort over the last many months. And then continuing after the Thanksgiving week break, the week of November 30th, TK through 5 will have conferences. Of course, those are a bit delayed from their typical time slot, but we're still committed to making sure that we're holding conferences for our students. And then December 1 is when White Hill will also open up to all students that are interested the ability to come participate in a learning pod. So it's going to be a really exciting month. And we're really looking forward to our next time together for a board meeting where we're going to be able to hear stories from each site, images, and really seeing the fruit of all of the labor that we have collectively put into getting our students back to campus. Again, our congratulations to everybody that's made this possible, and that includes the parent community for being our partners. And before we move on, just wanted to make sure there weren't any questions or clarifications on this calendar.
I just have to say, you are the most positive human I've probably ever met. You, even in the crummiest times, are kind and thoughtful and remember to thank everybody, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
That's very sweet. I got to say, though, I mean, come on, having worked at high school 1327, then going to be at a middle school for 6 years, I mean, that type of stuff just sinks in. You know what I mean? It's hard to not be that way.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you. I can still adore you, even if you say it's normal.
Fair enough.
All right.
All right. This is Julia Wolcott here. Thank you, Eric and Marcy. Definitely a very exciting time for Ross Valley. And in the spirit of expressing gratitude, we wanted to just take a moment to give a shout out to some of our extraordinary teacher leaders in our district. We have a number of coaches that are working really hard to help support all of our teachers in making this move from full remote learning to the hybrid model. So our virtual learning coaches, you can see them listed here. They are fabulous. And what they've been super busy with lately is providing training for all of our staff with the new tech that Sean has been cooking up, and going and working with individual teachers, making sure everything's in place, doing a lot of demonstration work, and then of course continuing to answer any and every question their colleagues have about the various learning platforms and different tech tools that teachers are trying out. So thank you to our virtual learning coaches. And also our literacy coaches. This year, Joni Sampson and Katie Frank are leading the charge. And last week, they led our new teachers in a readers and writers workshop training, talking about the structure of a workshop and how to prioritize which parts of the workshop work best in distant learning mode. They also shared a number of resources with our teachers that would help them with the implementation. So a huge thank you as well to Joni and Katie. And then we have a new coach. This is a new position, and it's a position that may shift, but at least for the time being, Krista Tarantino from Brookside is going to be providing support to our first grade teachers across the district. as it turns out this year, every site has a teacher in first grade who is new to the district. And so we recognize that that's an area where we need to provide some additional support. And Krista is definitely the woman for the job, just like Ms. Frizzle there in the picture would be, for those of you who are Magic School Bus fans. But Krista is a very experienced teacher. She has an absolute passion for Readers Writers Workshop and has tremendous skill with differentiated instruction. And she's going to be working with the teachers, coaching the teachers, and then also working some with students. So we look forward to seeing that take place as well. And they're not up here, but I always have to give a shout out to our Delight team of teacher leaders, who are representing all of their colleagues in all of their sites as we continue transitioning in through hybrid mode. And in the spirit of expressing our great, oops, did everybody's, sorry, my picture just dropped out there. I think we're back. We are, as Eric and Marcy have said so beautifully, so excited and to be launching. There's such a sense of joy on our campuses right now. And, you know, we are on a path, and we know that that path is going to lead us to a full return of our students on campus. And we wish that we could travel that path really quickly, but there's steps that we need to take to get there. And the step we're taking right now is a super important one, and one we're celebrating. And we wanted to give you just a little bit of a sense of that joy that we're all talking about.
I think it's always great to see kids on campus and to get a feel for that. I think once everybody gets back on and starts to get experience being there, I think everyone will see that all of the systems, protocols, operations that we put into place are really going to come in great use and be really helpful to as we prioritize the health and safety of all of our students, staff, and families. So thank you, Julia, for going out and capturing some of the great images so everybody can get a sense of what is it like if they can't be there themselves during the day. So we know today, here we go. Here's another change. The great news is that Marin County has moved into yet another tier, another higher tier. We're now moved into officially tier 3, the orange tier. And what we do know is that some of the symptoms that are related to COVID-19 and what schools need to look for are based upon the tier assignment. And so if you can go to the next slide, Julia, this is just to give you all a sense of what the decision tree for schools is when the counties are in tier 1 and 2. This decision tree is going to change. We are waiting for the final version, which is just going through another review, and it should be out soon. As you all remember, we've been talking about our Ross Valley School District Health and Safety Handbook, and as of, I believe the date was October 12th, Marin County Health and Human Services Department did finish their handbook. And so really want to thank Megan O'Hare, our school nurse and principal, Donna Faulkner for doing this super heavy lifting of going through our district handbook, comparing side by side with the county handbook, and making revisions to our district handbook. Not everything that we had in our have in our district handbook is covered in the county handbook, so we're merging the two together. So what we do know is, just to give you a sense of, this is as of tiers 1 and 2. And as I mentioned, tier 3 decision tree isn't out yet, but this gives you kind of a sense of just the level of oversight and complexity and care each one of our school sites will take as it encounters students and or staff members who do exhibit any symptoms related to COVID-19. And everything that we do is in coordination and consultation with the county health department. So if there happens to be a positive case, we will be in contact with county health. And as you might remember from the school site specific plans, each school has 2 liaisons to county health. And then at the district office, we have 2 also. That's myself and Dr. Salinas. And so we are in constant contact and communication with each other around what might be happening on the school sites. So one of the kind of sayings, I guess, that the county health department has come up with is test or 10. We know that we cannot require or force folks to be tested. So when it's recommended that a student or a staff member get tested after experiencing or coming into contact with somebody who does test positive for COVID-19, then kind of the saying goes, either test or quarantine, isolate for 10 days. So what we do anticipate is moving into the next decision tree. It'll look a little bit less busy as this one. We do anticipate, as we've heard from the county health department, that some of the symptoms, and the less common, the more common, are going to shift and change as we move into the higher tiers. We will, though, in our handbook, we will keep this decision tree in for tiers 1 and 2, just in case if on down the road, as we go into school, we have to, if the county does move back into a lower tier, then we will want to make sure that we have on hand what that decision tree is related to symptoms and our response to them. And so this will stay in the handbook as well. We don't know, our goal is to finalize the revisions to the handbook before our students, our elementary students return next week onto campus. And then we know that just as we're getting that new one out, which we will send to all of our staff and families via email, we'll post it on our district website. We'll need to make further revisions as we get further guidance, guidelines, and suggestions. And also as we see, once we're back in session, we may need to make some changes or shifts in our operations protocols, which will, those that manifest related to our handbook. So that's going to be really important for us all. One of the elements that the county has put out is a compact of sorts that families will be asked to sign off on, that they agree to monitor at home and not to send their children to school if they're exhibiting any symptoms, and that they understand what will happen in the event that their child does exhibit symptoms while on the school campus. And so that's just a side note to what we really think is valuable and important, is getting our kids back onto campus, our teachers and our staff, so that we can really get to in-person instruction, as well as taking care of the social and emotional needs of all of our students on campus. And just as we know that some of our students will be continuing in the Virtual Learning Academy, those supports for them too will continue. So they won't be lost or forgotten. But we think that with the model that we've created and with the systems and the technology that we have in place, we'll be able to provide a robust learning experience for all of our students, whether they're on campus or remain in VLA. Any questions about the decision tree or what might be next now that we've moved into a higher tier? Nope.
Oh.
All right. Good. Thank you. All right. And then we did conduct, even though we were right smack dab in the middle of tier 2, the red tier, the TK through 6th grade waiver consideration, only because in the event that it did look like Marin continued to move into a positive space, a more positive space, I should say, with case rates. But we just didn't know if something might happen where in the event that Marin County moved back into tier 2, we wanted to make sure we completed all of the elements related to the waiver so that should that have happened, moving back to tier 2 prior to reopening, we would have had a sense of where we would need to go next. So we did hold consultation meetings with our classified employees, with our certificated employees, with our community partners, and with our TK through 6th grade parents. Those were Zoom meetings, and then there was a follow-up survey. As a result of the survey, there was no consensus. And now that we are getting our TK through 6th grades fully open in a process, we don't need, and we can continue on with any continued phases, even if Marin County were to slide back into purple once we've reopened. I hope I've explained that clearly.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. And so related to our phased return, here we are just getting started with phase 3, and we're already looking at how do we get into phase 4? There would need to be probably quite a few changes, for example, into the county guidelines or the state guidelines related to distancing, for example, or something like that before we may be able to get into a more full return. But one of the things that we do know is that it's easy within our hybrid model to expand or to extend the school day into the afternoon. As of right now, as you all know, our school day will end before what would be a lunch period. And if things go well, we're looking at certain criteria. And one of those has to do with the acclimation of students and staff to our COVID-19 protocols. We do know that during the orientation time, there were some students who needed face covering breaks. They needed their mask breaks, even though they were only on campus, for example, for an hour. In some cases, they needed to adjust, they needed to have breaks. So we need to really see how our students and staff adjust as we move into the in-person model. We may need to make operations adjustments. We do think we'll be able to make whatever operations adjustments that may need. We don't know what they would be yet because we're just getting started. We think we have everything planned for and in place and ready to go. But just in case, we think we will be able to continue on with any adjustments. And there may be a county tier assignment that will come into play that we'll want to consider. So for example, if we did move back into the purple tier, does that mean that we'd be ready to expand? There may be more case rates or things like that, which Marin County is going in a very positive direction. We're glad to know that we didn't stall out in any of the tiers, well, except for moving from purple to red. But since that occurred, our progress has been amazing, and it looks like we're on a very good path to continue. But we also know that one of a big factor related to being able to expand or extend our school day or even move into any further in person is really going to be critical to fill our vacant positions. And just one example is noontime supervision. So is when we do have students remain on campus through a lunch break, we've got to make sure that we have those positions filled. We need to make sure we're in a good place with that. But that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of expanding or extending our school day, which is a great aspect of the AB model, and that we can extend the day and it wouldn't impact having to have children change teachers or cohort assignments or days that they come onto campus, at least to start. So we're looking at that right now as phase 3.1. We've just begun talking about that as an administrative team. And so this is just where we are today. We'll continue to work on it. And I imagine that by our next board meeting, we'll have a further plan outlined and ready to provide more information. I'm just wondering if anyone has any questions around continuing our phasing.
Nope, colleagues?
No, thank you.
No, thank you for the.
All right, well, thank you. And that just leads us right into the last slide, which is questions or comments.
This is Ryan. I love the COVID-19 decision tree. As a visual learner, that I just need to print that and just put it up on the wall. You can make shirts, but having everybody have that at home is certainly a nice little guide to following all the progress and work that you've made, but make it real easy for people to kind of follow suit so we can have a good shot at keeping this going. Great job.
Yeah, I think that visual that the county health department created is going to be very helpful, because when you see it linearly, just in written form, it could really look at being on 3 or 4 pages, and then you lose track of what did you see before. So to have that levels and move around, it really helps you to track. And if this happens, then that, and it really, I think is a great visual. So I'm really glad, they created that. And I look forward to seeing what tier 3 looks like when they come out with that decision tree. All right, any other questions or anything else related to our schools reopening?
Just as a sort of not really related to schools opening except for the human bandwidth portion, has the workload diminished? I know you were working, 16 hours a day, the staff was, and the teachers and everyone. Has that settled in a little bit to a more sustainable level?
I would say probably not, because we had the PSPS thrown in. And although we had been planning and working toward that, that does disrupt the plans that you have, and then you have to shift again and that kind of thing. And then now, even though we're just beginning the reopening, we're continuing on with our work and our planning. So my guess is this whole entire school year of 2021 is just going to be a year where we're all on overdrive. And I do know in the articles I'm reading about a constant state of stress or a constant state of needing to continue to move, it does take its toll on a human body and a human mind. And so it's really being able to look at how do each of us find things, activities, whatever it might be that can help keep us grounded and focused on not just work-related items, but that staying focused on our families, staying focused with our animals, getting out there into nature, exercising is critical to the human health and well-being. And so we do hope that as the year progresses, there will be some lessening, because I think we're also continuing in the phase of things are still so new. The teachers have yet to really try out the students at home and the students in front of them, their new technology, to see how is that actually going to work. Some tweaks will need to be made with the support, as the earlier slide showed. We have great supports in place to support teachers, but we know that we might need to shift those, and there might be some additional supports that we need as we go through. And but we do hope that everybody, our students, our families, our teachers, all of our staff, our administrators, can begin to settle in and find a new rhythm and a new calmness with what we all know is a sense of normal. Being back on our campuses is providing us that sense of normal and that touchstone, because we also know that humans thrive on connection, physical connection, communal connection, and relational connection. And so I think we're moving in that direction, and we look forward. And I hope, Anne, that we will see a lessening of the workload. Just don't know yet. Let's just hope 2020 doesn't throw any more curveballs at us, and 2021 is smooth sailing of a new year.
Okay, I'll join you in that hope. I just do think it's so important for everyone, the staff, the students, the families, the community, everybody, to be hyper vigilant about not crashing and burning, because it, as competent and kind and efficient as y'all are, nobody can do 16 hours for a whole year. Nobody. So I know there's a lot of work to be done, and I know you're getting it done at whatever cost, and I just hope that it diminishes some, because appreciation's awesome, but everybody needs sleep.
That is true. And I think some of the energy can come from knowing all of the great things that we are doing. And we're not just focusing on our schools reopening. There are a lot more elements of all of our positions that we're continuing on with. And so there's that energy and excitement that comes, but you are absolutely right. The burnout will come if a level is sustained for too long. It can't, it's not sustainable over time. So thank you for acknowledging that.
All right, well, and thank you guys. Colleagues, do we have any questions?
None from me, but thank you to all.
It's Mark, just one thing. Not a question, more of a statement. As a parent of a 7th grader, I see the amount of work that our teaching staff puts into the virtual learning academy. And I just want to, even though right now we're not talking about a return of 7th and 8th grade, you can really see the demonstrable effort and the time that's put into doing the work that I know for Lauren has produced over 100 assignments already this year that she's turned in. And so it's one of those things that we see it from lots of perspectives, obviously as board members, but also seeing it from the parents' perspective. And while social interaction is so huge, the notion about her being having access to just tremendous content, and that really shows the effort of our teachers and all of you behind them. So just wanted to recognize that, because that's not something that everybody sees, because we all have kids at different levels. They have different experiences. They have different abilities to participate in virtual learning. But I've been really impressed by what I've seen in 7th grade so far.
Thank you, Mark.
And this is Wesley speaking. I've got a 6th grader in cohort A, and he was so excited to get back to school, and then we had the power outage over at White Hill. But on this kind of concept of resilience, I asked him, can you wait another day? And he was like, you know what, I've been waiting plenty long to get back there. And he was so excited to go back for orientation last Friday. But he's like, look, this is what we're just going to have in this year. I'm paraphrasing because he put it differently, but he was very resilient in a way that I don't know that I would have been that resilient. I think I might have been really, really frustrated and annoyed, but he's like, look, we'll get there. It's disappointing. I'm really excited to get back to school, but I know it's coming. So the kids realize that, it's coming, and they're so excited, and that's got to buoy a lot of spirits of a lot of people who have put in this hard work.
Agreed. Yes. Thank you.
Hey, this is Ryan. Not to tell on what Wes said, but it's the exact same feeling for my 6th grader headed back, like excitement. But she's become an expert at dealing with disappointment, as most of us have been at whatever professional or child level we're at in our life. And seeing those pictures gave me a little idea that something the district might consider. Keep those pictures coming, almost like posting new pictures every day, almost like have someone on every site take a couple pictures and get them back out to those families, either on the website or through some sort of email, just so that everybody can just see the flavor and understand. Like when I saw the pictures of the kids in the classrooms, or just the classrooms as they were set up, it's different. Every parent and every child they're gonna resonate with those images. So I would say that the more images we have coming out, new pictures every day from every site, to share with the rest of the community, I think they would be very well received and act as almost a therapy for many people, just to see some sort of something. And also, it's a great opportunity for you all to show what you've been doing. And I think they'll become amazingly apparent to all these other people that are from the outside looking in, asking, what's going on? When can we do this? I think it's a reward for all your hard work, and you really have done amazing work. I'm really excited.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
This is just Annalisa. I just want to echo what everyone is saying and how grateful I am to all of the hard work, and acknowledge that this is a challenging time for teachers who are going back to something that may feel extra challenging for them, and appreciate all of the effort that goes into making that happen for our students. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Okie doke. Are we ready to move on? Alrighty, we'll move on then to